What's going on? So I don't have to say welcome back because it's actually the first time we've had a press conference to the Epic Grudge Racing Series over at Wolfpack, but we got a slew of drivers in. We have some competitive drivers. We have some drivers that are getting competitive. We have some drivers that are hoping to get more competitive as these regs are getting more elaborate as I've been getting pictures. But we're going to go in and say hello to all the drivers. We got Brian, which is known as Broken Hypocrite, Carlos, Hillian, Racer X210, Stinky One, and the Wildcat, all by their gamer tags, except for Brian. Brian is Broken Hypocrite, and he should be called Broken Feelings because that's what he's been doing lately. How are you all doing? Brian, starting with you.
Yeah, doing well. Looking forward to China.
Why are you looking forward to China?
I love that track, man.
So how do you feel about it being canceled then?
Oh, it's canceled?
I think the Chinese GP is canceled.
Oh, yeah, you mean in real life?
Yeah, in real life. He was like, no.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a bummer, but, they got to do what they got to do if they're worried about COVID still and all that. That makes sense.
So let me ask you this. Do you think plugging it in with another GP or just leaving it short? Which would you do if you were in an administrative position?
I always like more racing.
Okay.
So I'd say give us another track. I like Istanbul because, it's similar to China, the way the layout is. So I'd be down for that.
All right. Next, we're going to go to Carlos. How you doing, good sir? What's your gamer tag, Carlos? You came on with Carlos, and I don't see Carlos in the game. So what's your gamer tag? Your mic's muted. Carlos is like, damn, I didn't know I was going to have to do some of this stuff. Well, Carlos, mic's muted. Hillian, what's going on with you, man?
What's going on, Jay? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. How about yourself?
Good.
So how you feeling about the racing so far?
I've been loving it. I mean, I've been making a lot of mistakes myself. Broken Hypocrite, he's freaking fast, man. I can't catch up to him. The best I've been able to do race-wise is probably barely get the podium, maybe fourth or fifth. But this weekend in China, I'm gonna try to go for the win the best I can.
Always, that's always what you're supposed to be doing, man. Ain't nothing less. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So it's good to have you here. We're gonna go to Racer X210. How you doing this evening? Racer X210 might be taking a nap. He might have showed up to have like an Alonso award. I was about to say, you the Alonso, you showed up for attendance, but you didn't show up to win a race. I got you.
No, I'm sorry. I forgot my mic was muted, but I'm doing great. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good, man. What's up with you and Ferrari, man? Because every time you pull in, you in the F175. So why so much focus on the Ferrari car?
I guess mainly just because I love the design of the car.
Oh shit!
But
your mic about to be like Ferrari's racing season.
It's just overall, just like. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was saying your mic's about to be like Ferrari's racing season, unreliable. Yep, I figured that. Hold on, Stinky Pinky, you up, man? Racer X210, get that mic together. We'll get back to you. Stinky Pinky.
What's up? How's it going?
What's going on, man? So listen, man, what are you thinking about the race so far, and what are you doing to improve yourself? We were just talking about off air. You were getting yourself together.
Yeah, a little bit.
Trying to make some improvements. What are you looking to improve upon specifically that you know of?
Probably just the race. So my race pace hasn't been bad, but there's a few incidents that I could have avoided and a few that I couldn't. So just trying to mitigate the mistakes, I guess, while when I have open air, it's easy. I think for all of us, it's easy. But once you're racing with people, sometimes you're too cautious. Sometimes you're not. You're overly aggressive, and then things happen, right?
Okay.
So just trying to fix that, and then podium will come.
So try not to Charles it. Try not to Charles it up. Got you.
Essentially, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
But I think the races have been good. They've been chaotic at times. So certain tracks, they were a little crazier than others. I think Silverstone was really fun. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, and even this season, Silverstone was one of the highlighted races. I think it was the first track where we actually got to see a pretty good multi-car battle happen, and that was really nice to see that. Plus the 5 battle that I think happened in Austria, I want to say, but that was nice, and I think that's something that we all been kind of looking forward to. Well, we were looking forward to this season, and we didn't get to see as much of it as we probably assumed we did, due to them like elaborating on the whole philosophy of the new car, following closer, more overtaking. And we really didn't get that it wasn't realized the way we thought it should probably be realized. So when we saw those opportunities happen, we really did enjoy it. And I know we're probably all hoping that in 2023, that happens in real time and as soon as the season kicks off. But Wildcat, I want to go to you next, man, because you got Mary Beanie on you. I think like she is your CEO or your team principal, and you might be finding yourself having to go to another seat, man. So how you doing today, Wildcat?
There you go. There we go.
Oh, Carlos said, no. Carlos said, hold on, I finally got my mic. Wildcat, I'm going to go to you, then Carlos, I'm going to come back to you. Go ahead, Wildcat.
All right. Doing all right. Trying to manage. Shoot, I ain't really been on much this week, aside from like maybe an hour last night and then passed out. Off for the weekend. And now trying to get things set for China. And also still got to get, I got time crunch. I got to get things set for the weekend event for Hungary too. I'll deal with that later. But as far as China, I'm actually looking forward to that one because I kind of see that as round 2 rematch between myself, Fresh, and Hillian. Yeah, that you missed a pretty nice China run that night. We were all just racing each other, and myself and Hillian were actually I had the front row locked out. Fresh comes up out of nowhere and tries to run me down after Hillian made a mistake in sector 2. And yeah, that was an ensuing battle where Fresh made one mistake that actually let me get a gap and get out of DRS from him. So China for me actually is like, I'm looking forward to the battles, honestly, because I see a lot of sector 2 battles going on, not so much that back straight in sector 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's gonna be sector 3 is more so that's just straight line speed. That comes down to straight line speed.
Gotcha.
Sector 1 is going to be pretty much your consistent key. If you're consistent in sector 1 and you're consistent through sector 2, sector 3 is to a point of mere formality, because if you can't drive in a straight line, then we got problems.
Okay. Hold some of that techie talk. You getting techie already. Hold some of that techie talk. Put your six shooter back in your holster real quick. Let me get to Carlos and see how he's doing. Carlos, how you doing? I see you finally learn how to get the mic going.
Yeah.
I see you got on a Tampa Bay Buccaneers shirt. That's my team since like Ward Dunn joined. Not looking so great this season, but at least they got another Super Bowl in this decade. So what else you got going on today, man?
Oh, not much. I'm happy to be here. Hello to everybody. I hope everybody's doing well, and your families and everything. It's a pleasure talking to you. No, I haven't been racing for a long time. I don't know if you see me on YouTube, it's Advanced Racing ADVR and Ducat 955, which I was sending you a message about.
Yeah, you sent me a message. Yeah, you race for UPS too. Got you.
So yeah, that's that. And I haven't been racing, working, doing what I gotta do, and I got, like I say, my rig over here all ready to go with the VR headset, the flight simulator.
Ooh.
So I'm looking forward to it, to get back into the saddle. I'm not expecting to go in the front and pull and win, but I'd be giving you a little,
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I see what you did there. That was really good. That was really, really cute. Hey, first I want to say thanks to Carlos. I'm not going to give it all away yet, but we will be having something that I will announce later on. And I want to say thanks to him right now prior to, and then once we get to it, you all will see what it is, and hopefully that will be a good time. But I do want to thank you for that. All right, so let's get into a little bit of tech talk, and I think it's only right when we start off the tech talk, we start off with Brian or Stinky real quick, or Justin, but we're going to start off with Brian because Brian right now is 3-time race winning. If we ever had a championships point leaderboard, he definitely would have that. He's done a lot of very awesome things on track, and he's done some very abusive things on track. Mentally, psychologically is abusive. Okay. Brian started on purpose from the back of the grid, came to the front, then spun out, went back to like, I think 14, and then came back and won the race. And I just think that probably did not do good for everybody. Cause then after that, I started getting the spike of, I'm about to order my steering wheel. I'm about to order this rig. So Brian, if you could tell us a little bit about how you prepare when you're getting ready to come into race for said tracks.
Sure. So it depends on what track it is, honestly, for me. I don't have a whole lot of time sometimes to race. So if it's a track I already know well, I'll do like 125% race just to make sure I know what tire strategy I'm going to use, and that's it. But if it's a track I don't know well, or if I have a bunch of time to practice, I actually collect telemetry data a lot. So I will actually collect telemetry data from the game to help set up my setup. And what I'm looking for is not only something that's stable, but something that's good on the tires for the whole race. Because if you get to the point where your tires start to overheat, you just understeer like crazy and your race is almost over. Especially when you're at the top of league racing, you need to keep that tire window correct, like in real life, for the whole race, or else you're kind of, you're going to lose it. So, that's tricky with this game. Honestly, on most tracks, you want to go minimum tire pressures to help with that. And then there's some suspension settings you got to do to make sure that stays that way. So, that's something, once you get your Discord up, I can share a lot of that info.
Brian will come in
it's
and
a little advanced there.
And dazzle you all with tech that you can hook your shit up with. He will do that. I really do appreciate it.
We got lots of tools. We got lots of tools.
Right. And you recently got with Anwar and team over there. We're going to be doing something there as well, right?
Yeah. I had a chat with Anwar, and we might actually make some sort of lesson plan for his students to go through.
Nice.
Right now we're thinking maybe something where they do create like a tire strategy for a race, and then they can try it out. That'd be really cool.
All right.
It could be a nice exercise.
Cool. Let's go to Carlos next. Give us 3 things that you do besides showing off your rig that you prepare for the race coming up. Carlos, give us 3 things you do. God damn it, Carlos, your mic is muted. Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
The 3 things I do, I'm new. I never do. So before this.
It's okay, man. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So the first thing I do is I look at the layout of the track.
Okay.
I do a few laps just to know what my braking points are going to be.
Okay.
And I do what he was saying. I do a tire and fuel strategy, and depends. Some races you can change the setup for quali and then race. So you always have a couple of setup. One that is like sort of like an understeer type of setup. Another one a little bit loose, and then you try them both and see, and just working those hundreds with the telemetry. At the end of the day, that's how you wrap it up. But first of all, the most important is the layout of the track. With no setup, do 10, 15 laps and get comfortable and maximize the entry points of the track. Make sure you're clipping those apex and see how the car feels. Oversteer, is it understeer, is it under acceleration, is the gears need to be set up? Because I notice a lot of people, they automatically wanted to start up with a setup or whatever, but you don't know what you need if you do not run. So, it's oversteering here. So maybe I need a little bit of toe, maybe a little bit, a little bit more front wing, and maybe I need to change the balance of the vehicle. Maybe I need to change the brake bias a little bit because, I don't want this to oversteer, because that if somebody is being, aggressive, like our friend with Red Bull over there, and he want to dive into the outside there, now you're understeering. Now you're going to hit that guy,
Got you.
Or you're going to kill your tires. Like you were saying, you're going to overheat the tires. So you want to make sure when you look at the telemetry, the tires you have, you're told, but as you coming into the corner, the tire is flat.
Got you.
And then you set up for the tightest corner to the lightest corner. Same thing with the gear. Shortest gear coming out of the lowest corner, and top gear to the longest straight. And and again, that's tricky because it depends on the exit speed. If you have good exit speed out of, then the gear you can compromise to have a good exit speed and to maybe a medium straight. So you might compromise it. So it's a little tricky, and that comes a lot to your driving style, whether you want to be aggressive, whether you are like a robot type of very analytical driver. It depends. That's just what works for me, but that necessarily means they will work for somebody else.
All right. Okay. Hillian, you up next, man. What three things do you do as you prepare to go into the tracks?
Number one, the first thing I do is that I go to time trial. And the one thing I want to do in time trial is work on consistency, hitting the apexes properly, trying to get the consistent lap times. Next thing I do is then I'll go into a practice session by myself, and I try to work on my race strategy there. I want to see what the tire degradation is. When's the best time for me to, okay, maybe lap 8, lap 9, the softs to fall off, and that'll probably be the best time for me to go when I switch to a new set.
Okay.
The third thing that I do is that I will, just to kind of get the feel of the layout of the grid, I'll do like exhibition races with Wildcat, So
Gotcha.
Fresh, Lord First, and see where they're at. And that also helps me work on me defending, work on my defensive skills.
All right. So we got some scrimmaging going on behind the scenes. I like that. I'll be seeing y'all in the chat. Okay. Next, we're gonna go to. Let me see who's next. We got Racer X210 with the Ferrari style Bonotto mic. Come on through and see if you can try it again. Racer X. Oh, going once, going twice.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah, we got you. Go ahead. It's about to be a bidding war right there. I was about to say it's gone. What do you got? So what are three things you do going into the race for preparation?
Usually the first thing I like to do is like Brian said, get a feel for the track. And also I like experimenting with tire pressures because you never know what the weather conditions are gonna be. It could be
That's
hot.
facts, especially over at Wolfpack Grudge Racing. You don't know. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. So, you don't know if it's gonna be hot, it's gonna be cold. So I like experimenting and seeing what kind of pressures I want to run for each kind of weather setup. And then most importantly, I spend about a good hour and a half driving on the track and just like working out my setups, especially for China, because it's a pretty technical track and you got a lot of hard turns with a lot of G's. So, you don't want to kill your tires. So that's another thing you have to really consider, like the tire strategy and the fuel setup as well. And then also, I just run through time trials for the, for the third. And I just see where I can squeeze out that extra time. I try to really clip the apexes as best as I can and keep that momentum so that way I can keep shaving the times down.
Okay. All right. Sound like you got a beat on some things. So hopefully you can bring that F-175 up to a podium position one day, what we're looking for. Definitely would like to see that sometime. I think last time you were there and then you weren't. So we're going to get into more of that in a little bit with you all about the moments that you've almost grasped it and then you just fell right flat on your damn face. And we're going to talk about those and let you explain to people why it happened and what you're doing to keep it from happening next time. But for right now, we're going to go to Wildcat. And I want to know 3 things that you do, Wildcat, to prepare for a race besides get cussed out by Mary Beanie.
Well, aside from that, kind of like Hillian said, I tend to go into time trial, which I'm actually sitting in time trial right now, looking at, somebody's time who I'm not happy about that. Don't worry, Hill. I'll close that 4/10 real soon. Don't worry about that. But it's more so in time trial because some of my setups I made months ago. So it's more so I'm in time trial, refining the setup, figuring out what's working, what's not, working on break points, finding that consistency over laps. And I mean, I'm talking laps. I think I did probably almost 100 laps to get ready for Baku last weekend.
Okay.
And well, that 100 laps must have paid off because, hey, finished P2. So I'll take that.
Nice.
But from after figuring that out, I tend to get on the laptop and start perusing through YouTube, seeing what other guys are, doing out there, seeing what they're saying. And these are some dudes who have been in esports and been to the top and some others they just they're well known for making good setup.
Okay.
Once I figure out what they're doing versus what I'm doing, kind of find a middle ground that works for me and I'm comfortable with to keep the car stable and happy. And tire pressures, gotta keep the tire pressures right because they tend to, like they said, you get hot tires, you're screwed.
Right.
But if you keep the tires in the right window, you're good all day.
Got you.
Once I get everything set in that manner, I'll go into a Grand Prix mode and I will crank the AI up to somewhere probably in the realm of like 100, and I'll just screw with the AI all day for an hour or 2 hours. And it's more so I'm not trying to beat the AI at that level, but I'm trying to see just how consistent I can stay, work on racecraft. Like Hillian said, got to work on that defense. And trust and believe, Hill can tell you, my defense actually had him wondering, if Sergio Perez had took over one race when me and him going at it at Monza.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like when we thought Latifi really wasn't driving that car. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. I see what you're doing. I see what you got going on. Okay.
So
hold on. I'm gonna go to Stinky real quick, and I want to know what he does to prepare for a race. Stinky, what do you do to prepare for these circuits as you come up, good sir? Stinky probably decided to take a nap.
Okay, I got a quick question for Wildcard, if you don't mind.
Oh shit! Here we go. Go ahead, Carlos. Send it.
Yeah, Wildcard. I'm new to this simulator. I used to do iRacing or Formula One RS, and that have been a long time. I just getting back. I'm not gonna have any setup. I'm gonna run the car however it is this weekend and go from there. But when you're talking tire pressure and this simulator, my question is, let's say if you put 20 pounds, right, or 15s in the rear, 20 in the front, as the tires heat up, is that pressure increase, or because it's a game it stays the same?
To what I've noticed it's more so late in a race. Like when I was at Baku, I periodically looked at my tire pressures and saw what they were at, and things were staying pretty level with the temperatures. And then right after that last safety car restart we had, and I was on softs, and my softs were only maybe about 2 laps old going into the safety car. So I'm sitting on about 4 lap old softs at that point. I noticed the tire temperature did increase a little bit. And I will say, yeah, with a broken front wing, it is a little bit more of a challenge to drive. But after about half a lap, I tend to figure out what I need to do to actually compensate for that broken wing. And it actually caused me to accidentally, just by the slightest margin, tap Fresh in the back. And I don't know if he spun or what, but he did keep going. And
okay, hold on right there. Let me pose. Hold on real quick, Carlos, because that's a good question. Brian, I want to ask this question before I get to Stinky on his preparation. Brian, how critical is it for you to think in advance about tire pressure increasing under heat and friction? Because that is a natural law of the physics, right? Molecules heat up, stuff expands. How critical is that for you to think about in the world of artificial intelligence versus the reality world when we are here? So is there a margin or what?
Yeah, so I mean, Carlos says he came from iRacing. I also did a lot of iRacing 12 years ago. So I know what he's talking about, because there you get a lot more information about the actual telemetry and what's going on. And you can see those pressures and temperatures and how they change with time together. In F1, you set your pressure and it does change throughout the race, but you never see what it is. You only see the temperatures. So in race conditions, you never know, at the end of a session, how much your pressures went up. All you know is what your temperature is. So in F1, we can only control those temperatures. And there's 2 ways to control it. One is lower or raise your pressures, because that will adjust the temperature. And the other one is adjuster driving. The less you slide around on track, the less the temperatures are going to build. So you can lift and coast into corners, and you're not going to raise your temperatures as much.
Okay, so then let me ask you part two to this question, because I come from straight line racing as far as real life drag racing, and I always know we put the Mickey Thompson on, we lower the pressure depending on what it is. The front, it's important as well, but is it the same when you all are setting up the car? Is it more important to have less pressure in the rear and then the front because it's rear wheel drive, or is there a different philosophy when it comes to Formula One open wheel racing as far as the pressure being lower in the back, higher in the front?
It is true. You do have lower pressures in the rear.
Okay.
And it's for that traction mostly.
Okay.
So,
all right. All right, Stinky. I didn't forget about you, Stinky. What do you do? 3 things you do, Stinky, to prepare as you go into these circuits.
So I use the lazy approach because I have
I'm glad you're
Miller
honest.
with me. So I leave it off for like the last day or two, and then I just go, "What's your setup?" And he gives it to me.
Yeah, that's what I
And then I
know.
watch maybe a video from somebody on the approaches, and then I just either do time trials or practice sessions. So, and then I just do what everybody else did, where you just do a bunch of laps because you left it for the last second.
Okay, roger that.
Yeah.
Roger that. All right, so I got another topic we're going to go into, and it is about pressure, but it's not about tire pressure. It's about pressure of human factors, pressure being in the moment, pressure of you got it, now you don't, so you're driving different, it seems, from a spectator point of view. And I'm going to start off with Wildcat first and go through the rest of you drivers. Wildcat seemed to have an opportunity in the last race to possibly have a race win. And it seemed like driving was good. Then it seemed like when you got behind, your driving changed a little bit. And you made a mistake and you spun out. It's not only you I've seen that with. And I just want to know, this is what I specifically want to know. Is there a dynamic or something that happens mentally to your driving when you have a position, then you lose it and you get close to having it again and then it just slips away? What's going through your mind right there and then, Wildcat?
Honestly, it does change. Like last week, like what you said, I was in the lead and and I was actually keeping track of delta time between that gap between me and Musica. And I was actually looking at how much I was pulling time out on him while being ahead of him. And I was actually pulling about 2 to 3 tenths out of him on just the straightaway. So I was like, okay, I'm not worried about him. He's not going to catch me. If he gets in DRS, I've got 70% battery. I'll just fire up the battery if he's within range and get up to speed quick enough to where he won't catch me in the corners. Okay. And like there was actually that same time me and Hill had that was by far probably the most defensively fought Monza race I've ever had.
Okay. So mentally, what's happening with you? Like mentally, what are you thinking when this happens?
Your mental, for me, it's more, all right, I'm in lead, heart's pounding because it's like, don't make a mistake, don't make an error. And then after about a lap or two, it's like you simmered down and now you're just home free. You're going, you're comfortable. When you fall behind, when you get overtaken, then it more so I shift toward, okay, let's stay close. Where exactly can I catch him? Let's see what his racing line is compared to my racing line. Where exactly can I get this overtake done? Don't be too aggressive, but you got to be aggressive to get the job done.
Okay.
How does that work out? Like last week at Baku, me and Broken actually had a nice little back and forth for about a lap and a half.
Yeah, I was about to say it didn't last longer than 2 laps. Coming
in, and it literally came down to turn 1, I think, is where me and him, that fight ended, because I think he took the inside line and I went around the outside, and I don't know exactly what happened, but then he fades away. I go look at the replay and here it is, Broken spun out. I'm like, what the heck just happened here? Yeah. But
I'll tell you what, we're gonna let Broken talk about that. So hold on, let's let Broken talk about that. Brian, tell us, what is it that you're going through, or what is happening to you all as drivers when you enter this environment of I had it, now it's gone, and you're trying to get it back, and then mistakes just start happening? What is going on? And if you could maybe provide a little bit of information of how to combat that so you can remain in the moment and keep making progress instead of a mistake and falling back.
Yeah. Well, so it's true that all of us, when you're fighting for a position, something changes And you know, whether it's you're defending or trying to attack, your approach will change than when you're just in fresh air by yourself.
Okay.
So there's always something that changes. Now, I think the key is, especially like with these races that I've been doing with all you, is I've just been trying to have fun with it and trying not to be the cause of an accident. That's
Right.
personally been my approach to this. So I try to give as much space as possible and just like have fun. And I mean, I got frustrated a few times when somebody would slam into me from behind, but it was like,
Right.
whatever. One thing I noticed, especially when we were talking about that corner one where I spun out, that was after a safety car restart, right? And I was just not focused. I was thinking, oh, I'm going to go for this pass, and didn't even think that my tire temperatures were at like 70 degrees, where you got to be around 83 degrees or so to make sure that you can stick something on the inside where you're trying to turn sharper.
Right.
So I just spun around, and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. Like, what did I just do? Like, I knew I didn't have tire temperature, but I wasn't thinking. So like that
Gotcha.
happens when you're racing and you're like, oh, I'm going to make this move. You got to make sure you're thinking all about all the variables before you do that move. Do you have enough ERS to defend on the exit? Do you have the tire temperature? Do you have, you got to actually think about it before you
Okay.
make a move. Because if you just make a move, what's going to happen immediately after that move? Are you going to run into the guy? Are you not going to have enough ERS to defend? Is he going to get DRS now because you made the move too early and now he's just going to pass you right back? Like, those are all things you got to think through. I think
Okay.
a lot of us as racers, we're just like, oh, we see a gap, we go for it. We all think we're Senna. Like, oh, there's a gap, I'm going.
Right.
But it's like, no. You got to be a little more smart about it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, our mindsets do change.
Okay.
We just
All right.
like race.
It's just like, just go for it, damn it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Carlos, what about you, good sir?
Yeah, well, that's a tricky thing because sometimes you end up in front of somebody, but that doesn't mean that you are faster or your strategy is different. You're in different compounds. So you can fight it a little bit, but it all depends on who you're racing with and who's behind you would make you feel at ease. Or if you have Verstappen behind you and you Lewis Hamilton, you know that your stress level is going to be 1,000,000,000%, because at any point, somebody's going to do something stupid like, I'm going for it. And sometimes if he have it, let him have it. Let him have it. You're on a different strategy and let him go and try to stay up and do the best you can. At the end of the day, if you lose it because of your tire degradation or whatever reason, you just gotta focus on your task and forget about that person and just trying to do the best driving that you can. And consistency within, a couple of hundreds of a tenths in every lap is everything. That's everything in racing.
Okay.
Consistency. You don't have that, you're gonna find yourself in a lot of scuffles and a lot of battles, and it all depends on who you're racing with, who makes it's not about, and as far as when it comes to a passing, follow the person before you dive into the inside or whatever. Follow the person, see, okay, I got a better exit speed here, I got a left turn, it's an apex, it's a chicane, and just because you got a better exit speed, maybe back off and let him have it, let him feel relaxed 3-4 laps. And maybe when you come in, you have a faster exit speed corner, surprise them. All of a sudden, oh shit, he's right there. Oh man, now it's too late. Now you know what I mean? Don't try to show your strain right away because now he's gonna be taking different line to defend. Now he's faster than me coming out of here. Just let him relax, let him go in front of you, drive behind the person for a couple of laps. And sometimes you just can't do it.
Got you.
This is not real F1. It's not one move defending. And sometimes in racing, the guys, they go back and forth, and you asking, it all depends on who you're racing with.
Got you.
You're racing a nice, clean guy that is respectful what you're doing, because at the end of the time, it takes time to do all that, and then yeah, you can take a little more chances and the overtaking. But if he's somebody that is a little crazy,
Unpredictable, erratic, right?
You're not gonna pass me no matter what, and I'm gonna
Right.
then at that point, wait until he pits or.
Okay.
But that's my
So-
take.
What I got from your take is the main thing I got from your take is don't expose yourself. Don't expose your strategy in the rearview mirror. Like, go ahead and just follow through. And then when that opens, and he settled in, take it. That's very good. That was very, you done a couple of things here that show, you peeped, and I like it. I like it, Carlos. Right? You get it. You get better. There's going to be something going on. Next person I'm going to is Stinky. Mentally, what is going on with you when these situations come up on your table?
So I tend to be a midfield to back runner usually. So it's mostly just trying to. So mine is mostly just trying to have a consistent pace. So just trying to remember what my pace is. Yes, maybe somebody behind me and I know he has a better pace. Then you just let that guy go through eventually, right? You don't try to fight it as hard, and then you just run your pace. Because then at the end of the day, when you pit, you're just trying to get in front of the people you should be in front of. And then sometimes you get in front of a few others because you weren't fighting against somebody, right? You guys, instead of making two people lose time, you're just letting them gain more time, right? So you're ignoring the one guy that maybe is behind, even though he should be ahead of you, right? Because we all know who's like a little bit faster than others, right? Sometimes they still end up in the behind you because of like quality stuff. Stuff happens in quality, right? So I just try to do a pace, stay focused. So that's one of the things we were trying to do in our league. So we're still trying to do is run engineers. So anytime I ran an engineer, it was very helpful. So like the issue with Broken, that wouldn't have happened, right? Because his engineer would have been like, remember your tires are cold.
Right.
He would have never taken that pass. So I think since we have to be everything, usually we lose focus sometimes. And I think just trying to remember all the things that you shouldn't have to be remembering, right? If you had an engineer, he'd be able to tell you all that.
Right.
I think that helps a lot. Just knowing, like trying to stay focused on certain goals that you have.
Stinky, for you, buddy, you get the nicest guy award. I'm just going to pass it to you. Just take it right there. I'm going to say that was some fucking good information right there. That was very good advice. Race your race. And then to try to keep somebody from racing their race, which intentionally is being a hater. I'm just going to let you know that's hater type characteristics. You're really ruining two races. You're ruining their race and your race. And not often will you even hear somebody say that they are taking that approach and that's what they should do. That's what everybody should do. Most time, like nobody's having that. And I'm going to say that I am probably one person that is going to be like 40%. I'm going to try not to let you get by me, but then I'm going to be like, you know what? Out of the way. Now, purposely, unintentionally, because I cannot drive as good as these guys can drive, I be trying to get out the way and be still on the goddamn racing line. So just excuse me. And I apologize to you all when you race with Wolfpack that I don't try to do that shit. But next we're going to go to Racer X210. Mentally, what is going on with you when you get into these situations? What are your progressions?
Most times when going back to what Hillian said, usually like when you get an overtake or when you got when you gain a position, and you start getting higher and higher into the rankings, the adrenaline starts pumping, your heart starts going 100 miles per hour, and like in that split second, you can make a mistake. So I'm just trying to really just keep myself collected and stay on real fast pace so that way I can avoid making those mistakes and just be a better and stronger competitor.
Okay. All right.
But yeah.
Good deal. Hillian, how about you, good sir?
Mentally, it depends on who I'm battling at the time. I kind of consider myself more of a front runner of the grid. And if I'm going wheel to wheel with, for example, Joshua, me and Joshua had a couple of good battles. And when I know me and Joshua are in a battle, I know the rest of the Wolfpack family is watching this. And that's
they be like,
yes. And so I'm like, dang, I know they watching. I can't mess up. Next thing you know, me or him spin out. And I'm like, whew. And that kind of calms me down a little bit. But yeah, it depends on who I'm battling.
Right. If you get next to Joshua or Broken, you on the spotlight. Like it's without a doubt, like it's going there. Like we want to see what you're gonna do or what they might do to you. Either way it goes, like it's gonna be attractive. So that's very true. I can understand that. So more eyes on you has an effect on how you drive at that point in time?
It does.
Okay.
Especially with me knowing like, okay, now this like the Wolfpack grudge racing is starting to get more popular. More people are watching it now, and that kind of like not necessarily stage fright, but when I get put on the spot, I'm like,
God damn
I
it,
can't.
Jay,
Exactly.
get that camera off me.
Exactly.
Got you. I feel you want to do all your killing in the dark. You don't want nobody to see.
Exactly.
You don't wanna do that. I got you. Don't worry. I'm gonna get a lease for you. She gonna be your lawyer. She'll get y'all. Don't worry about it. So listen, we're gonna come down. Well, we're gonna get ready to wind down. Before we wind down, we're gonna bring Brian on with a good tip and hopefully a fact that could lead to real results in this week's race. Brian has definitely been very transparent, very assisting. His motto is to help everybody progress and be better racers. Therefore, the race itself is a better race. So, Brian, if you got a tip for your fellow racers amongst the grid for this week's GP in China coming up, what would it be?
One tip only?
I tell you what, because you broke a hypocrite and you got 3 wins on your belt, I give you 3 tips.
Ooh, okay.
Got you.
All right. Number one, and maybe this isn't for this week, but
Okay.
maybe previous or following weeks. Learn how to race with all assists off. All assists. Because if you turn off every single one of your assists, you will find time once you're comfortable. It does take time, and I would do it incrementally. Like first turn off your traction control, then turn off your ABS. But you want them off because there's a lot of time to find there, because you have full control of your car now, and you're not letting the game artificially slow you down. So that would be number one. Learn how to do that. Number two would be learn how to trail brake. In this game, that's how you get the car to rotate and stay stable and carry all the speed through the corners. And trail braking, if nobody really knows this, is literally all you're doing is you give it your brake pressure, you're braking, and then as soon as you start to turn into the corner, you're letting off the brake nice and slowly. And in this particular game, trail braking is so strong where literally you're trailing off that brake the whole way through until you're near that apex. And then that's when you're finally off of it, and then you're getting on the throttle smoothly. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to keep front load on the front of your car, so you have grip still on your front tires, and you're trying to keep that balance where your car isn't going back and forth through the corner, but you're kind of keeping that pressure on the front of your car until you're at that apex and you can accelerate out of the corner. It's really tricky to get the hang of. Right. And people always kind of want to get off the brake as quickly as they can.
And
but
it
it's
increases
like, no.
pitch. Right.
You definitely want to learn how to trail brake. That is huge. Number three is if you're not using setups, use setups. Because every single track is going to have a specially very particular aero load you want on it, so that you're fast through the corners and fast on the straight. And if you don't, maximize that, there's always a little bit of play. Some people run a little bit more downforce, some people run a little less, depending on how comfortable you are and how you drive. Do you like it a little understeery? Do you like it a little oversteery? There's always a little bit of play, but not much. Okay. And if you don't have it right, you're just going to be slow. So what I would do is go to a time trial, find the quickest esports guy, pick up that particular setup, try it out. If you can't run it because it's got too much oversteer, then dial it out by changing the aero balance a little bit. But I wouldn't touch anything else other than the pressures, bring the pressures all the way down, and then just mess with the aero a little bit, but don't change it much from what that top guy is running, or else you're just going to be too slow.
Hot damn, man. That was a good 3, man. That was shit. If I had put some music behind that shit would have been a banger. That would have been a banger, goddamn it.
And one question for Brian: what is your lap time in China?
Oh shit.
Here, let me look it up.
Carlos.
That way I can go in there and see where I'm at. I mean, I'm curious.
I like it.
I'll probably be the last guy.
I'm in the game right now, so let me bring up China.
Yeah, feel free to join our Discord, and you can ask us any questions. We have a bunch of info for anybody that wants it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Facts.
Let's see. If
Is
I
it in
sent a
the?
time
Did you put it in the
slot.
chat, Stinky?
I can. Yeah,
Okay.
I will.
Yeah, send me an invite on the Discord. Put a link on the little group chat, and then
Matter of fact, yeah, Stinky, just also send me the link and I'll put it into the group chat where a majority of drivers are in on the Xbox system too.
All right. I'm basically a 131.5 in time trial at China.
131.5. That is the time to
Top
think about.
100 TT time.
There we go. There we go, people. So listen, this is a conclusion of the press conference coming up. Now, if you want to watch, we're going to have the race this Sunday, 11 a.m., but 30 minutes prior to that will be the free practice session. I'm going to say this. After free practice, I'm going to close that session, open a new session. So if you're late for free practice, at least you have an opportunity to get in for the short quality, and then we go right into the race. There will not be another break on that. Want to try to keep things efficient, let people go about their day. It's early enough. Get up, pop tall, get ready, let's race. If you want to be in the race and you're not or you haven't, just send me an invite over to Wolfpack F1 on the EA platform. It's probably best for cross-playing, not knowing what system we might be on, although I'm an Xbox. Just send it through the EA platform. That way, you know, we'll have a little bit more continuity with that. So that is going to be the end of this presser. We will be in China this Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Adjust your own clocks for where you are in the world. I appreciate all you drivers. Appreciate the influence and appreciate the advice. Appreciate the experience that you all shared. We'll be back again before another race with another press conference. See you soon. Peace. Thanks for watching another episode of Wolfpack Performance. Don't forget to check out some of my other content on Formula One and motorsports topics. Like, share, subscribe, and we go live on the weekends. See you soon.